Sure he can.
Call the Broken Arrow City Council meeting to order. We have invocation by Pastor Rich.
Amen. Happy New Year, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Father God, for the start of a brand new year. All things are moving forward for Broken Arrow. May the strength of your Holy Spirit rest upon our leadership. May the wisdom of your Spirit rest upon our leadership. May the protection of your Holy Spirit be over our leadership and their families. Please help them make the right decisions. We look to you for guidance with the agenda before them tonight. There's so much expansion and enlargement you have planned for BA. And just as you spoke to the prophet Elijah in 1 Kings 19 and said your voice is not heard in a great wind or fire or earthquake, but in a whisper, please whisper your will for BA in the ears of each council member as they lead this city for 2026. May your mighty hand protect our citizens, protect our city employees, and may this city be a light to our state and country. In the name of your Son, a great example of a servant leader. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you,
He
sir.
has your back.
Thank you. Roll call.
Pickle.
Here.
Green.
Here.
Ford.
Here.
Parks.
Here.
Wimpy.
Here. Please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any items to be removed from the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as it stands.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Mayor, can I point out one thing on the consent agenda?
You may.
This is just for the public's knowledge. I was very excited about this. Under K is a partnership that we're having, another partnership with Tulsa County to actually make some improvements to the intersection of New Orleans and Mingo. And they're also going to be looking for assistance from both Tulsa and Bixby. But this is something that right on the edge of our city, and so I just appreciate the Tulsa County Commissioners coming and approaching us and working together where our jurisdictions come together. We've done that several other places, and I think there's potential for others, but I just want to acknowledge that partnership we have with them to make those improvements to part of our community.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Councilor Ford. Did you click in your vote?
Please vote.
It says withdraw vote.
Thank you.
It's like, oh, yeah.
You good?
It was voted on, wasn't it?
All right. Item 7, public hearings, presentations, appeals, recognitions, and awards. There are none. Item 8 is citizens' opportunity to address the council. There is none. Item 9, general council business. 9A, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of and authorization to execute a memorandum of understanding between the City County Library Commission of Tulsa County and the City of Broken Arrow to outline their cooperative intent to develop a brand-new 20,000 square foot public library facility in South Broken Arrow. Jeremy Ward.
Wow, that went much quicker than I maybe thought. But here I am, General Counsel already. Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Councilor, Mr. Spurgeon, our City Manager, thank you for the opportunity. I'm here tonight, Jeremy Moore, the Fire Chief, but discussing a memorandum of understanding between the City of Broken Arrow and the City County Library Commission of Tulsa County. I will take just a minute and say thank you for allowing me to be involved in the bond planning process, Mr. Spurgeon. Definitely not the typical role of the Fire Chief, but my responsibility was Proposition 7, as you know. And early last year, you guys gave us some direction to move forward with Proposition 7. And I think later on tonight, maybe the next item or two, we're going to be finalizing the election. But because the library system is not an entity of the City of Broken Arrow, they're a third party to the City of Broken Arrow, we felt it was very important that we bring forward a memorandum of understanding that clarified expectations between the City of Broken Arrow and the library system for this endeavor, for this future partnership that we're working on. So This memorandum of understanding contains some obligations for both parties, and all of it obviously is contingent on the citizens passing Proposition 7 in the April election, should we have an April election, which I think is later in the meeting. The obligations for the city include putting Proposition 7 on the April ballot and bearing all costs for the election. Also, we would be reimbursing the library up to $4 million or 40% of the construction costs, whichever is less. So that means if the economy does whatever it does and they are able to build the library for substantially less than what they're anticipating, our burden or what we would contribute would come down based on a percentage, but up to $4 million. And we won't make reimbursements until January 31st of 2030. That's kind of important because of our capacity to be able to sell bonds and award projects. We have in this memorandum of understanding that we wouldn't make that reimbursement. Again, reimbursement meaning they build the library and then we give them money after it is built and completed and they receive their certificate of occupancy. So the library's obligation include constructing a 20,000 square foot state-of-the-art library near their current location, and they would have that constructed by December 31st of 2029. It's going to be a wonderful new facility for our citizens that will include a makerspace with state-of-the-art equipment, much like we saw on our tour of the downtown Tulsa Library. Also will be a outdoor children's amphitheater, and it's going to be a wonderful facility for our citizens to use for many years. If it's approved by the council tonight, Kim, the executive director, who is here with us this evening, she will take it to her board on January 15th, and they will consider ratification of it also, so that we will have very clear understanding of what they're expecting of the city and when we can deliver on that, and what we're expecting of the library and when they're expected to deliver on that. And I would entertain any questions, and I know Kim is here and would answer any questions and express her gratitude for this wonderful partnership that we've endeavored to take on.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions? Or
Well, I do know there's some private money being raised apparently too for this. So what if they raise more money? Like, what if they raise money that we don't have to pay the whole $4 million? Like, how is that? Does that go back to the cost of the library, or?
Yeah, and I can let Kim come and speak to that. But our obligation per the agreement would be $4 million or 40%, and I'll let her speak to how the private dollars would come in.
Okay.
Good evening. I was going to say good
evening.
afternoon.
Good
Thank
afternoon.
you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, councilors, and Mr. Spurgeon. Thank you for having me. And let me just say, Jeremy has been phenomenal throughout this entire process, so thank you to him.
did he pay you for that?
He did not. But on behalf of the Tulsa City County Library Commission, we are so appreciative of this opportunity and realize that this is quite a unique partnership. To answer your question, it would be a wonderful problem to have if we were able to. Well, it's been a difficult process, which is why we're before you today for the $4 million to raise the funds we needed. The entire project is $13 million, and $4 million of that would go toward the $10 million for construction only. I don't know if we would have that wonderful problem of raising beyond that. We don't intend to. And so we're, at this stage, we're raising money for the last two projects, which is the South Broken Arrow and the Owasso Library. And the funding process has slowed a bit, which is why we're before you today. I don't see that as a problem. But if you want to put a clause in the MOU as a result of that, we certainly would welcome that.
I'm okay with it. I just was curious what to do.
I don't have a question, but I do have a comment.
Yes.
I actually got to go and visit our library this past week or so. I was at home trying to take care of some projects, and my printer was out of ink. And I was like, oh no, how am I going to print my documents? Oh, I can run over to the South Broken
right.
Arrow Public Library and print my documents there. And
Good.
contrary to some of the comments that I've heard, there was a lot of activity and hustle and bustle in the library. But the staff was incredible. They helped me out and got me through the process and on my way. So
Thank you.
kudos to your staff.
I will pass that on to them as well. Since I'm here, may I make a question or comment about the MOU? As Jeremy mentioned, in the second, looking at the MOU, the second article, obligations of the parties, under city or obligations number 2, it says reimburse the library of the $4 million, only after, reimburse the library to $4 million, 40% verified construction costs, only after January 31st, 2030. And once the conditions of the Section 3 are fully satisfied. I wondered if the council would entertain also an end date to that. So not to reimburse until January 31st, would the councilors also entertain an amendment that would include, but no later than a date to expect those dollars? Because again, as we're talking about $4 million, that's a large amount of money that would be difficult for us to proceed with if we don't have a deadline of when we can also expect the money to, we know that it's going to be after 2030, January 31st, but we don't know how far afterwards.
So, I mean, how do
Do you have a recommendation?
Yeah, I do. I have a recommendation of, after, I have no later than December 31st, 2030, that would be the full year of 2030, once the conditions are met in Section 3.
Jeremy and I talked about, Chief Moore and I talked about that, and I don't have a problem with that because our sales normally happen in the fall, so we receive those monies. And so, you know, the challenge we have here is that we're nearly complete in building the 10-year schedule, and we moved it out to 2030 because obviously there's other commitments. For example, council said that should Proposition number 1, we want to get Tucson between Aspen and Olive going, and Omaha between Aspen and Elm Place going immediately. And we've already done the design or work on the design for Tucson. So obviously there's could be $15 to $20 million with the road projects. And so I don't see any concerns of putting in an end date because that would be after that sell. Mm-hmm. And I would say this, and when I spoke to Chief, you know, when we build out the schedule, if there has a potential to be an issue, I can always come back to council and tell Kim that we may need to extend it out further simply because of how the schedule looks in terms of when the sales are. Because remember, it's not $415 million divided by 10. Right. It's based on bonds paying off and anticipated assessed value. So I would be okay with that, with the understanding is that there might be a need to come back and amend if the voters approve Prop 7.
Yes.
Sound good?
Yes, that would work for us, for sure.
So do we need a motion for that?
With that amendment?
Oh, I gotta get out of my thing to click.
Any more questions for me or?
No, ma'am.
Okay,
You're good.
thank you again.
We have a
Thank
motion
you.
and a second. Roll call?
Did you get the language for that, Curtis? Because I didn't voice that motion.
We will get that off of the video.
Okay.
Okay. All right, item B, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of the allocation of the 2026 GO Bond Proposition Number 8. Charlie Bright.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, Mr. Spurgeon. Excellent. I'm excited that we're sitting here talking about Proposition 7, and now we're going to have a little bit of talk about potential Proposition 8 and the potential election that we're going to talk about a little bit later after this. So obviously, we've spent a lot of time in this council chambers and meetings outside of this with staff talking about what the projects could be for Propositions 1 through 6 and then 7 as well. We have talked about the potential of a Proposition 8 that would go towards sports user facilities, but we have not talked a lot publicly about what those projects would be. And the primary reason being is because those projects won't be named on the ballot at the time of the vote, since the way we're going to talk about doing that was a temporary sales tax. But the council has made comments in the past that obviously they want to be transparent with the public about which potential projects are there prior to saying we're going to vote on it. And so tonight we're going to talk about what those potential projects could look like. As a reminder, the Proposition 8 is considered at this point to be a half a cent of a temporary dedicated sales tax that would last 5 years. It would start after the citizens vote on it, and it would automatically end after that 5-year period happens, no matter what, unless any changes are made in the future. As part of that, The process that we want to make sure that's clear to you all and the public is the intent right now. And what we've seen with other communities and just in general, it happens when you sell a bond a lot of times, they don't see that for a few years because it takes time, as we just talked about, to generate the money to create the bonds and everything else. And so a lot of times, especially when you're talking about stuff for the youth, the parents that vote on it, their kids don't see it. And we've talked about that here in this situation. And so the way we've approached it here is we anticipate the revenue being around $53 million total for the 5 years that is going to be voted on. And in that, we have broken out what it would be if we took a loan in the first year to cover all projects on the front end, and then what the debt servicing costs would be here. So we've broken that down for you here, and we show that if we get that $53 million, that we estimate approximately $46 million in project costs in year one, and then having a little $5.6 million or so in debt servicing costs. One way you can look at that is say, well, why are we paying debt servicing, not waiting for the cash? But you also have to keep in mind in our industry that that's kind of a wash when you look at it, because if we weren't paying for the debt servicing, then we wouldn't be doing those projects for 4 to 5 years, and then we'd be paying escalation on the cost, because the cost of the project would be more in 4 or 5 years than it is today. So it's kind of whether you're going to pay debt servicing or escalation. It's one or the other. But that's the intent. And the ultimate goal being, if the voters and the citizens choose to go forward with this, that we would get these projects and these improvements done in a very quick time frame, so the kids of the parents that vote for it would get to use the amenities. And so our schedule would be to start design immediately. I'll tell you now, if this goes out, my team will go out for consult. If the vote happens on April 7th, my team will ask for consultants on April 8th. And so we will start that process April 8th. And we will work on the design as quick as possible with the intent that later in 2027 that we would start construction on all the ball fields. We'd coordinate on what season and all that kind of stuff, but get it going as quick as possible. So we want to provide you guys a breakdown of what we anticipate that $46 million going to. So we've broken it down by complex, and then we've broken it down towards facilities, like what would actually be used for the playing surfaces, and then what would go towards the common areas. And so as you see here, Arrowhead for the softball, the biggest ticket items here are converting the fields to turf, and we've talked about this before. It might not necessarily be artificial turf. It could be a Bermuda grass on a sand base or something. We'd still go through that design and figure it out. The ultimate goal, making the playing surface nicer, making it drain faster so we can hold events right after it rains. We would be regrading and sodding. We'd be adding LED lighting to, again, extend the playing time, get kids out there more, and it also reduces our electricity costs. Adding backstops areas, renovate the warm-up areas for all the teams, and then landscaping, tree improvements. And then we kind of drop down to just overall site amenities that aren't really next to the fields. And we talk about adding a more appealing front entrance, so you kind of come and it looks like a much nicer place. The parking lot's obviously in rough shape. If we can improve the parking lot, sidewalk repairs, access gate control, that's talking about where we've tied this to the senior center on the side for extra parking. We may provide another entryway into the park over there, and kind of do some gate work over there, and then that's what you see at the end, secondary gate entrance. So feel free to interrupt if you want to talk about any specific site, but I'll just go on to the next. Over at Indian Springs, we're going to first talk about the overall, because it's obviously many user groups over there. But the overall improvements, very expensive. There's a lot of parking, but the parking, again, is in rough shape. We haven't updated in many years. So parking lot improvements, improve the roads, parking throughout the area. Common area upgrades, we're talking about picnic areas, shade areas, maybe shade structures, and maybe playgrounds. I don't know. We haven't fully gone through what that'll all will be. And then the park maintenance building that at one point was in Proposition 3, and we discussed, since it is part of the sports user facilities, that we would move it out and put it in Proposition 8, which is ultimately a maintenance building for our staff to be able to maintain everything that we have out there.
Before you
Yes,
leave,
sir.
this one, I know you said parking lot improvements. I know this would be a huge thing. I don't know if this is included or not. And I know it hadn't been finalized, but is there any consideration to making that dreadful circle any more efficient to get in and out of?
Yeah, I mean, to your point, as you said, we haven't designed and gotten those details, but it has been discussed. I think if approved, when we start the design process, we'll see what we can do. I don't know what that looks like, but I think we'll try to come up with some creative ideas. And I don't know if that means adding lane width where we can, or trying to reduce some parking and make up for the parking somewhere else. But we'll look at some options. We'll do the best we can. You are limited on space and what's available, but we'll definitely try to make it the best we can.
Fantastic.
Staying out at Indian Springs, moving to the soccer fields. We're showing turf conversion of 4 more fields, LED lighting again throughout, and then a lot more sidewalks. Obviously you guys are familiar with the area, but if you go out there, there's not a lot of sidewalks connecting the fields and everything, so we wanted to add a lot more sidewalk connectivity through the area. They already do have their 4 largest fields as turf, and this would be giving them 4 more to increase their playing time quite a bit. And then going over to baseball, again, the primary theme here is turf conversion, which could be artificial turf or sodded areas. And then regrading and sodding for the outfields, LED lighting, more restrooms, and safety netting down the sides. And then adult softball is the last user group that's out there. And so obviously we have a very nice challenger, very nice turf fields out there, which creates a situation where they don't want these probably get underutilized more than they should because they don't have the same level of amenities that you have at the other facility. And so we'd kind of catch these up with what everybody else is going. Turf conversions, concessions and renovations, LED lighting, and kind of get it on the same standard that Challenger already is for the 2 fields that we have in that area. And then speaking of dot softball, moving over to Challenger Sports Complex, minimal improvements. It's obviously a new facility, very nice facility, but there's some things we could add out there. Playground, because now out there you have more adults playing, but you have a lot of kids that come to the facility and this playing and sitting in the stands getting bored or whatever. So playground for the kids to go play on while mom, dad, aunt, uncle, whoever's playing. Some batting cages that could be used year round for warm-ups. A bridge connection that we hear a lot. You can see in the aerial right there, the sidewalk to get in goes way off to the right. We do get a lot of complaints about just a bridge connection across the channel there. So we've added that in, and then parking lot expansion, which will probably be dual use purpose. They need more parking because they always overflow that parking, but that parking also will complement Events Park and complement the amphitheater. It kind of have 3 purposes there. And then moving on to Nienhuis, again, I will bring up the total at Nienhuis is a little lower than the others, but a lot of it is what you've seen when we talk about turf and lighting and everything else. We're kind of catching up the other facilities to some of the improvements that Nienhuis has already received. After the last bond, all 4 fields at Nienhuis are already turf. And their lighting is a little bit better. They already have a nicer entryway than some of the other parks. So we definitely want to improve it and make it better because we want it to be state of the art, but everybody else is kind of getting the improvements that they've gotten in some of the past bonds already. But it would include LED lighting and include entryway plaza areas. They want more concrete space for gathering. There's a lot of spillover, I guess, at the front gates around their events. More lighting and security in the parking lots. We've been told many times it gets dark in the parking lots. Repaving, some drainage improvements, and then one that we've heard a lot from citizens is a restroom facility actually out of the practice fields itself. So this would during the week, all the teams are practicing out there. The gates and everything are locked up on the inside. Getting them a restroom out there for when everybody's outside during the week. That's an overview of where we expect it to all go. I will, as I kind of said at the beginning of this, obviously we want to be very transparent about what we expect, but the way this will be voted on, it'll be a sales tax. We collect as much as we can collect over that 5 years, as much as whatever that number is, and then all that money will be required to go towards sports user groups. And that total could be 53 million, it could be 56, 58, or whatever. And this is generally what the plan is for the projects within that, what the expectation is. So I'm happy to answer any questions you guys might have.
So similar to Councilor Ford's question, if we do collect more than the 53 million needed, will we add additional upgrades or will that just go to debt? Okay.
Council will decide to do one or the other. So if in fact we take in additional, for example, this does not take into account Hackberry Market or Adams Creek.
Right.
And so once we look at where the note is, council would have the option of, because remember, the one thing I was going to mention at the beginning here is that council has seen these improvements, and obviously there was much more requests than there what was funding available. And so we have all those improvements. And so once we get a couple of years into this and make projections, that's when council will decide whether you want to do additional improvements or to basically pay off and basically retire the note and then sunset the tax.
Fantastic.
But to your point, and Mr. Spurgeon's point, anything we gather based on the vote will be required to stay at sports user groups.
Sure.
So if we collect more, it'll be your choice how to use it, but it'll have to go to sports user groups if it's used.
Fantastic.
But no matter what, it'll be over in 5 years.
5 years.
Yes, correct.
I know that. I just want to make sure everyone else knows that.
All right.
Thank you,
It's
sir.
exciting.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you all.
Entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept 25-282, or Johnny will, and I'll second it.
Thank you
Motion and a
for saying that.
second. Roll call.
Sorry.
All right. Item C is consideration, discussion, and possible approval of resolution number 1732. Trevor.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. The item before you is for the closure or foreclosure to reopen a 2,000 square foot easement that's at the intersection of Houston and Garnett. It's no longer needed for public purposes. The landowner would like to remove it so that they can continue with the development.
Okay. Any discussion or questions?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 1732.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call. All right. Item D, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of resolution number 1730.
Thank you, Mayor. This is the first of several items that you'll have. It's basically the legislation package for the 2026 GO bond package, as well as a resolution calling for the sales tax and the ordinances that go along with those. We have Nate Ellis with Public Finance Group here. I think at this point, I'd like to have Nate come up and he can talk to you about the process. You will have to take a separate vote on each one of the items. We do have a little break, so the next three items are going to be legislation for the GO bond. Then we'll have a little break to talk about a hazmat ordinance, and then we'll finish out the legislation. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Nate, if that's okay, Mayor.
Yes.
All right.
Hi.
Thank you. Good evening. Exciting time, the end of a process that we've been working on for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
So, so this is a resolution that calls the sales tax. So you'll see there's kind of some difference. The GO is called by an ordinance, and the election language is built into that ordinance, and then there's a proclamation. So the ordinance has to be adopted. The proclamation gets published multiple times in the paper to give notice to the public in advance of the election. And there is an emergency clause related to that as well, because we want that effective immediately so that Curtis can take it over to the election board and file it and doesn't have to wait, which would be after the deadline. So on the sales tax, it's a little bit different. We call the sales tax is adopted by ordinance. The ordinance won't be effective until July 1 if the voters approve it. So it doesn't need an emergency clause, but then the election itself is called by this resolution that's the current agenda on here. And then the next couple of items are approvals of the proclamations themselves. So these are maybe kind of out of order as you're adopting them, but it doesn't really matter. I'm happy to answer any questions, but that's kind of the whole package. So there's 8 total propositions. 1 through 6 are general obligation bonds, similar to what you've done in the past. It's kind of same category names that we've had. Proposition 7 is a general obligation limited tax bond, which is a different constitutional provision. That's all on the GO bond package together. And then Proposition 8 is the sales tax. So, and this is kind of the last chance if you want to renumber any of those propositions, but otherwise that's the order that they will appear on the ballot.
I was going to bring that up. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Okay. Any questions of Nate? So Trevor, how do we start this?
I'll make a motion.
That would be it. The first one would be to approve resolution number 1730.
I'd make a motion to approve resolution number 1730.
I'll second that motion.
And roll call. All right. Item E is consideration, discussion, and possible approval of and authorization to execute a special election proclamation.
The requested action on that would be move to approve and authorize authorization to execute the special election proclamation.
I'll make a motion to authorize to execute special election proclamation.
I'll second.
Roll call. Item F is consideration, discussion, and possible approval of and authorization to execute special election proclamation for propositions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7.
And so the requested motion would be the same as above, basically the approval and authorization to execute the special election proclamation.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call. All right. Item 10 is preview ordinances. There are none. Item 11A is consideration, discussion, and possible adoption of ordinance number 3902. Trevor.
Thank you, Mayor. As you may recall, we had previewed this hazmat ordinance, I think about 2 weeks previously. At the request of Chief Moore, the legal department had worked with him to basically clean up our hazmat ordinance, just to make it more clear about who we can go ask for remediation or remuneration for when we have to remediate a hazardous waste spill. And so my understanding is we spend something in the neighborhood of $750 an hour per fire truck. You know, sometimes you can have spills from a gas tanker. You could have it from a pipeline. There's various ways that this could happen. So this cleans up our ordinance, and it makes it more streamlined in recovering fees for when we have to respond. I know Chief Moore is in the audience. He can talk a little bit more about the details of the operations if you'd like some more details.
Would you like more details?
I would.
Vice Mayor would like more details.
I just have a question, just to make sure, and looking through this, that we had we're going to continue with hazmat, we continue cleaning everything up. It's just what are we doing differently here?
This really allows the city to invoice the spiller, the property owner, the responsible party for the fire department's time committed to that incident. We're still going to respond, we're still going to clean up, we're still going to work with a local remediation company to do the cleanup. Usually it's an outside remediation company largely, and that spiller or the property owner or the involved entity will have to pay that remediation company to do the actual cleanup to make sure the environment is protected, but they have not previously had to pay the fire department or the city for the fire department's time and effort and energy into that. And over the last year, we have seen our time and commitment for natural gas leaks increase exponentially. And so there's a lot of time and effort and energy that the fire department is spending on these natural gas leaks due to underground directional boring. And so this is going to hold those companies a little bit more accountable that are damaging our natural gas infrastructure for our citizens, that they're going to have to pay for those costs of at least the fire department being on scene, in addition to the Oklahoma Natural Gas Company or whatever hazardous materials cleanup is also going on. So the city is going to be recouping some costs from the responsible
I
party.
knew that was going in that direction, I just wanted to make sure. Do I have any other questions, Dr. Russell? Okay. I have no other questions.
And Charlie's team is working to let the contractors know that are doing this work, this is coming. And so if it's a contractor that creates this situation, which is likely it's going to be, or has been a lot of in the past year, they are aware this is coming, and he's working with them to get the word out and having regular meetings with these contractors that are doing this directional boring. So they're aware that if this passes tonight with the emergency clause, that basically tomorrow, if they do this, they're going to have $750 per hour per fire truck to pay the city for this.
It's good.
I do have one question. It may not necessarily be you, it may be Mr. Spurgeon or the other chief. Is there any remuneration in this type of incident? I mean, I don't know, how often it happens, but do you often have law enforcement out there blocking roads and doing other things as well in relation to that hazmat? And do we get any payback for the law enforcement being out there as well? It's probably not going to be as much, but we're still having law enforcement out there.
I don't, Trevor may know something statute that requires something separate.
I could speak to that. The language that we have is pretty broad. If you look under responsibility, it says, quote, the following persons shall be liable to the city for payment of incurred costs. And it doesn't limit it just to fire. Okay. And so my opinion of it would be it would include everything that we would calculate from the incident.
Sure. Okay.
I'd make a motion in that we approve ordinance number 3902.
That's what I was going to say.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call. All right, item B is the emergency clause.
Make a motion to accept the emergency clause.
I'll second that motion.
Roll call. Item C, I am not reading all of that.
That's a whole page. That's a lot of words.
Consideration and discussion of possible approval of ordinance number 3903.
Tell me more about that, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. This is the
Trevor?
accompanying ordinance to the notice of the proclamation of election that was previously passed. This is for propositions 1 through 7.
Okay. Questions or discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 3903.
Item D is the emergency clause.
Make a motion for emergency clause, we approve it
I'll second.
when it comes up.
Item E is consideration, discussion, and possible approval of ordinance number 3904. Trevor?
And this is the ordinance for proposition number 8, the sales tax.
Okay.
I'll make a motion, we approve ordinance number 3904.
Second. Please.
Roll call. All right. Item 12 is remarks and inquiries by governing body members. I was just going to let you all know that city manager and I filmed a short video before the council meeting, just reminding everyone about the January 12th meeting, and just kind of explaining how the special meeting will go, and just for everyone to, you know, have peace and come prepared to, you know, have a good professional conversation and vote on that item, so.
See, all the council need to be there.
Yes. That would be great.
I was just asking a question. aren't you?
Yeah.
Aaron will release the video Friday, and obviously, it's this matter, I mean, council hears, what, dozens, could be, in some cases, could be 100 applications through the planning process, and obviously, there's a lot of emotion related to this, and the mayor and I just felt like we needed to do something to remind folks that there are varying opinions. The First Amendment, this council has supported continuously, and that let's remember that we're still friends and neighbors, and so it'll be Friday, and besides that, it's about Aaron's going to come on at the end to talk about the specifics of when the doors will be open, getting your request to speak in by a certain time to allow the council time and clerk's office to prepare everything administratively for those that choose to speak. And so I was very appreciative of Aaron putting it together and on behalf of the council.
I just appreciate, I know there's a lot of effort adding another meeting to our schedule, but I really appreciate us giving our constituents,
The opportunity.
so we can hear their voices on both sides.
Yeah.
And I know it's a lot of extra work, so I appreciate everyone that's gone above and beyond, for sure. The only thing too, Chief Arnold, I noticed came in, today's his 1-year anniversary, so
Happy anniversary.
congratulations.
All right. Anyone else?
I would just like to throw out, now that the holidays are over, just another big shout out and kudos to our city and everything they did, and the leadership that Mr. Spurgeon has is absolutely amazing. And it's, you know, you can walk down the Rose District anytime and feel like a Hallmark movie. And we appreciate that.
It was sad. We had to take everything down. It was really sad the last couple of days. You know, you get used to it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
thank you.
I did just de-Christmas my house too, and I'm like, oh, that's sad. All right, remarks by city manager.
I do, Mayor, Council. Good evening. Briefly, let me start with the bond package. I mean, obviously, the council members have been in the throes of this initiative for at least 2 years, a little bit more, with just all the pre-planning that was going into it. There was a lot of hard work. I've recognized the staff members, especially in engineering, construction, finance, and so forth. But I think Trevor and Nate Ellis need to be recognized, because obviously all the legal documents, it's not as easy as everyone thinks to put everything together, because there are specific laws and the Constitution that outline exactly how you have to present the propositions. So any reasonable person can go in and understand what it is they're voting on. And then you have to put it in the 70% named and unnamed. And believe me, there has been a lot of back and forth the last month, and I just want to publicly acknowledge their assistance in putting everything together. So thank you very much, gentlemen. A lot of heavy lifting, and I appreciate everything that you do, Nate and Trevor. And also, I want to mention, I asked Jeremy to serve. We have such an incredibly talented leadership team, and starting about 2 years ago, I started involving other directors in something that they probably know a little bit about, don't know anything about in some cases, because that's just so much talent. All they need to do is they need to know what the direction are and what the scope is, and they can take care of it. And Jeremy's efforts was a demonstration of that, and you'll start to see more directors being involved in other areas that are not traditional, if they have the time, because I value their opinions and their servant leadership and making sure we're doing what's best for Broken Arrow. So I want to thank the chief. I also want to thank Kenny Schwab and Norm for keeping everything on track and helping me, the sports organizations, all the community groups, for actually their time and effort. There was a lot. Now probably the funnest part of the proposition starts in just about less than a month, even though it's beginning now, but officially going out and communicating the public education phase, working with the Build a Better Broken Arrow. And so that was very exciting. So I want to thank the council for all of your time and efforts, because there was a lot expected for you to go through everything, and I appreciate your diligence and commitment. The last thing I want to mention is the council members received an email from County Commissioner Kelly Dunkerley yesterday in connection with the project that I would pretty safely say most of us hear on a weekly basis, or there's a post about it on social media, and that is Garnett from 91st to 101st, also known to us as New Orleans. And just to paraphrase the email, they are trying to secure the remaining funding they need for the construction, and they've asked the city to assist with the resolution to the Homeland Security Secretary, Secretary Nome, where the funds for the hazard mitigation funds are located. And so what I plan to do is I plan to actually have Trevor put together the resolution and the letter of support for the mayor's signature on behalf of the council to come to the council on January 20th for your consideration. If approval, then she can sign the resolution and the letter, and we will get it to Secretary Nome, as well as our federal delegation in support of the county's efforts, because that's the only thing that's holding us up. Plans, as I understand it, the plans are done, they're ready to go out to bid, but obviously it's an $8 million plus grant. And so anything we can do, there was a letter attached from Congressman Hearn, so you can see the level of support they're trying to gain. Obviously, part of it is within our city, so I'd like council support next council meeting on that. Be glad to answer any questions.
I did speak with Commissioner Dunkley last night as well regarding this issue, and assured him that we were as always willing partners to help participate in this. He was telling me that the particular grant they're going after was actually approved by the last administration, and then with some of the things where some of the stuff got put on hold, so they're kind of reviewing everything, has held it up. So we're trying to shake that loose so we can get those funds.
Yeah. And I talked to Senator Mark Wade and Mullen about it as well. So I'm like, hey, next time you see that secretary, we need that signature. So.
And we'll take those letters too with us when we go in March.
Yep.
It's always good to have something in our hand asking for stuff. So.
Yes. All right, there is no executive session.
Make a motion to adjourn.
A second.
Roll call. Call the Broken Arrow Municipal Authority meeting to order. Roll call. Oh, we have to vote. Sorry. Just kidding. Moving right along.
Here.
Green,
Here.
Ford,
Here?
Parks,
Here,
Wimpy.
Here. Are there any items to be removed from the consent agenda? Bless you.
make a motion, we approve, I'll second the motion.
Go ahead.
Where we at?
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that motion.
Sorry.
You're good.
All right. There are no public hearings, appeals, presentation, recognitions, or awards. There's no general authority business. Remarks by governing body members. City Manager?
None, Madam Chair.
No executive session. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Motion to adjourn.
Call the Broken Arrow Economic Development Authority to order. Roll call.
Pickle.
Here.
Green.
Here.
Ford.
Here?
Parks.
Here.
Wimpy.
Here. Is there any items to be removed from the consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as it stands.
Second.
Roll call. There are no public hearings, appeals, presentation, recognitions, or awards. No general authority business. Any remarks from governing body members? None. City Manager?
Yes, Madam Chair. I wanted to mention some sad news, and that was last month, the passing of Joe Robinson. And I intentionally waited to say something under the Economic Development Authority because he and his family have been instrumental in so many different ways in the development of our communities. His forward thinking, for example, of putting their development into the city's water plan or having it de-annexed was an incredible foresight on behalf of their family back in the late 60s or so. I could go down the list of the things that Joe specifically, the boards he served on, the commitment he and his family, him specifically, made to our community. And his funeral is next Tuesday. That information has been passed out, and I do know that several council members will be attending and representing the city. But I just wanted to acknowledge his commitment, his entire family's commitment to our community, and he will be missed, and his loss is significant for our community. And I just wanted to pay respects to him and his family for all that he did for our community.
Yes, thank you. We do have a executive session, so entertain a motion to go into brief recess to clear the room.
I'll make that motion. Make it a second.
I got a second.
Got it.
I clicked it.
Roll call.
Green.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Counselor Pickle.
Yes.
Okay. Ford.
Yes.
Parks.
Yes.
Wimpy.
Yes.